Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Mike Jones. I am the Director of Education for the OETUG. I will be covering the main portion of this speaker orientation for the conference. A quick note, everyone will be on mute throughout the session. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A portion of, or the question portion of the webinar control panel, or you can put them in chat. And if you want to be taken off mute, let us know. We could take you off mute, especially near the end, and you can ask your questions directly. We've done this webinar every year, so generally it gets better and better and better as we get additional questions. So we'll try to cover everything. We try to make it as easy as possible for all the speakers to speak at Ascend. The other person on this webinar is Mohan Dutt. He is the OETUG Agenda Chair, and he is one of our superstar presenters. He does generally about 3 or 4 sessions every Ascend conference. He does regular sessions, turbo talks, things of that nature. So he's there to help answer any questions, and I might bring him in if there's a question that I can't answer. But anyway, we'll go ahead and start. We don't want to waste everyone's time. Just a quick reminder that the conference is technically started. So the first session started, it's a virtual session. So it's just basically running a webinar, but you do have to be on the conference app, either on your phone or the web version of the conference app to view the session. So it's currently running right now. We'll quickly try to cover all the slides. First off, we're gonna go over a quick overview of Ascend 2025. We do have a number of first-time speakers, so some of this information will be new to you. I'm sure there's a lot of speakers that have spoken at every Ascend on this webinar as well, and there will be a little bit additional information for you. The number one thing that all presenters need is to go to the presenter information page. We make that very visible and clear on the Ascend website, so you just go to the Ascend conference website. The presenter information page is there, and we have everything there for you. We've got a PowerPoint, we've got the slides for this, and the recording of this will be on that page as well. So just keep that presenter information page bookmarked. If you're new, it's always great to take a look at it, and we've got a lot of information for presenters on there. We'll cover stuff you're supposed to do before your session. We're going to cover the conference app a little bit. It's called the Ethereal Connect. I'm hoping everyone on this webinar has downloaded that already. I know I've sent some verbiage out to make sure you've done that. We'll talk about finding your session, adding sessions to your calendar. We put that in there so that you don't, we want to make sure you know exactly when your session is. A couple of items that we run into the past with this is different time zones. So make sure when you're there, you've double checked your session, you've added it to your calendar, it's in the right time zone, you know exactly when they're happening. We'll talk about session structure, how the room's laid out. We'll talk about, different options that you have. We'll talk about how you start your session, and then tips for your session and recording. Just a reminder for everyone that if you're kind of in the main education rooms, your session will be recorded. We're not streaming, but we are recording these. So we'll give you tips on what you should do to make sure the recording is solid. We'll talk about ending your session, and we'll talk about a few FAQs at the end. And then we'll cover a Q&A. What is Ascend? I know a lot of you currently know this, but Ascend is the annual user conference for both OETUG and OHUG members, OHUG user groups. OETUG is primarily focused on EBS, Cloud ERP, Cloud EPM, and database. OHUG is mainly focused on HR, which is going to be Cloud HCM, PeopleSoft, EBS, HCM, and Taleo. Both of our user groups kind of share technology and analytics, although the primary bulk of those are going to be run through OETUG. And then lastly, and this is to kind of hide any confusion, Speakers for Ascend get accepted by OATUG and OHUG in their tracks. So if you do have questions, it's always great to send your questions to myself if you're OATUG, and if you know Janice or Ali from OHUG, you can ask them a question on their site. So if you are an HR professional, and you have a question about your session, timing, stuff like that, they are managing that, so you'd want to email Janice or Ali. If you don't have it, you can always send it to me and I'll make sure it gets to the right person. A quick overview for Ascend 2025. We are running 10 tracks. Those tracks are, of course, listed on the Ascend website. You know, from EBS, we've got technology, which kind of floats in and out of different areas and tracks. We're expecting over 1,400 attendees that have registered for this event, about 1,200 in person. We're actually over 1,200 in person. So we're going to be similar to the numbers we had last year. I know with the market uncertainty, it has kind of affected our attendance a little bit. We were anticipating a lot more, but hopefully that uncertainty will get some extra in-person people attending and any on-demand registrants. For education, we have around 350 educational sessions. Again, that's about the same as last year, but we do have a lot more in-person sessions this year than we did last year. We have fewer virtual sessions. So we just really have 6 virtual sessions. One of them is currently running right now. So those are called pre-conference sessions, and they're running on the conference app. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Networking, and I already spotted an error on my slides, so I'll have to adjust that. But for the welcome reception, we're doing like a decades party. So we're suggesting that everyone dress in either 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s attire if you have it. For the attendee party, we're doing a toast to a future, so it's all going to be futuristic. So if you've got some kind of crazy space, I know I've got a big silvery shirt that I'm going to wear to that. So that's the themes for our 2 parties that we're having. We do have a lot of meetups as well as sessions, so those are going to be kind of SIG meetups or community sessions for OHUG. And then some of the highlights are going to be the Power Hour sessions. We've got one on AI. We've got one on professional development / AI, and we also have another one on Apex, since Apex is such a kind of advancing technology. Oracle roadmaps. Of course, we've got Oracle roadmaps, and this year we've got more Oracle speakers than we've ever had. So we're running major roadmaps for EBS, EPM, ERP, HCM. Database and analytics is new this year. So we've got a strong analytics team that's going to be there. So I'm very excited to see the attendance for those. We've got women technology, journey jams, customer only roundtables. These are the kind of session types. Now for the roundtables, those should only be users only. So really no Oracle or partners in there. We've got the meet and greet plaza, another error in there. Got the wrong area listed, but the meet and greet is going to be in some of the foyers that we have that has education. We've new this year, we're running very strong hands-on labs. So those are going to be labs that are going to be run by Oracle, and attendees are going to have their laptops. So if you are planning on attending any of those, you got to make sure you read the fine print on that, read the prerequisite, and read the information associated with those. We've got the Oracle booth in the exhibit hall, so there's going to be a very strong Oracle presence there as well. So we got a huge OCI team, but there's going to be a lot of Oracle folks there. Some database folks, some analytics folks will be hanging out there. So if you do have some questions after your sessions, you may want to pop into the Oracle booth. Also in the exhibit hall, we run solution showcase sessions, which are really kind of vendor demo sessions. And then we're also running Turbo Talks. We run that every year. I know Mohan, that's on this call, is always kind of our Turbo Talk king. He's always done one. It's about a 30-minute talk, and those get a little crowded since there is no concurrent sessions running at that time. Pre-conference sessions, like I mentioned earlier, are running currently right now. So we only have 6. We have 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and 2 on Wednesday. And then after the sessions are over with, all recordings and slide decks will be available on the conference app. So we're recording everything. We have to do a little bit of tweaking to it. It's going to run through a Vimeo link that's built into the app. So if you want to view any recordings or sessions, we do have over probably about 35 concurrent rooms running at the same time. So there's a lot of folks that are going to miss sessions they really want to attend. Are there any questions, Mohan, that you're seeing or anything that I can address?
There are no questions at this time.
Perfect.
Yes, I saw one question. Where exactly can we find the networking sessions on the app?
Great question. Networking should be tagged networking. So they're going to be the parties. They're going to be the kind of some of the lunches. I know we've got a, they're going to be some of the meet and greets should all be tagged networking. So if you go to the app and you kind of search networking in the app, you should be able to find all the networking items. You can also look at the agenda on the Ascend website. So there'll be some, you'll actually kind of see them kind of sprinkled in there. All right, we got one other question.
Where can we find the presenter page on the desktop app?
That's going to be at the Ascend website. So if you search for the Ascend User Conference website, it's right there. You should be able to find it pretty easily.
So it's not exactly on the app, it's on the website, right?
Yes, it's on the Ascend website. All right, presenter information page. Ask and you shall receive. This is what the page looks like on the Ascend website. We've got it. I've got the URL listed down below, ascenduserconference.com, and it is not in the app. Since everything in the app is a session, the presenter information page is really a website page. So big reason why it's really not in the app.
We have a few more questions. Is the ACE luncheon still happening?
The ACE luncheon is still happening, so you'll have to look for that. That is built into the app, so you could easily search for that. Just had a call about that right before this.
And ahead of our educational sessions, how do we check registrations for our session? I believe that means folks have added the sessions to their agenda.
Yes, they cannot, speakers cannot check the attendance of any of their sessions. The reason for doing that, it always freaks speakers out when I see a lot of people sign up for their sessions and not as many seats. So our app is totally open. So attendees will, of any sessions that are interested, will add those. And generally, the standard is about 25% of the people that add your session on the app will show up.
Next question is on the main Ascend website. I can't find a link to upload the presentation. Can you point it out?
If you look at the presenter information page, there are specific instructions on how to upload. So there, you're going to upload it via the conference app, and there's information right on there. And most people should have already uploaded their apps. I know I sent emails out to people that haven't, but on this presenter info page, just go to how to upload, and it'll give you specific instructions. You go into the app, you find your session, and this all has to be on the desktop too. It can't be on mobile. You find your session and you attach your session to your specific, you attach a PDF of your presentation to your session. Make sure you don't add it to your profile.
Are we able to download our educational sessions so that we can promote it post-event?
You can promote it, but remember, only attendees at Ascend can view it. So if you're going to promote it, I recommend promoting it on the conference app.
This is a follow-up question to one you answered on the ACE lunch. Are all ACEs invited?
Yes, everyone's invited to that, ACEs and non-ACEs.
Are there floor maps and or layouts for the conference rooms?
Yep, everything will be in the conference app.
Okay, that's all the questions we have for now.
All right. Okay, before your session, quickly log into the conference app, make sure you bookmark it, find your session, add it to your schedule, Outlook and calendar. Again, make sure you're in the right time zone. If you're entering the Eastern time zone and you're not part of the Eastern time zone, it'll be a little bit trickier for you, but just double check and make sure that information is correct. Verify all session information. We tagged a lot of sessions with particular tags like lecture, the session style. If there's something in there that's not tagged properly, let me know or let OHUG know, and we can adjust those. Practice your session. Mohan, I mean, how many times have you ever done a dry run of your session?
So I am presenting a turbo talk on how to be an exceptional presenter, and one of the tips there is please practice before you present. So I would say it's very important to do dry runs, and there is, I think, a speaker ready room at the conference event where you can also do practice using the AV which is there, because it's a bit different what you do on, say, GoToMeeting or Zoom and doing actual presentation in the conference in the conference room. So
yeah, and I know that PowerPoint does have a tool now that you can actually go through your session in PowerPoint, and it'll actually give you tips on what you're doing. If you're stumbling too much on words, it'll kind of let you know that. So you can actually just do it by yourself in PowerPoint, in PDF, I'm sorry, in PowerPoint, and it will give you tips on how to present your session better.
And one more tip, what happens is that there is a lot of question and answers maybe in the middle, and you have prepared for presenting for 50 minutes, and you have to be prepared to perhaps somewhere slow down or somewhere speed up your presentation so that you finish within the allotted time. We have back-to-back presentations, so if you extend beyond the allotted time, then the following session gets delayed.
Yep, perfect. And yeah, just also remember, we do have a CPE requirement. So if someone's attending your session for CPE credits, you have to present for 50 minutes. If you don't, you may get some attendees that are a little bit mad or upset.
We have one question here. Will the presentation recordings be available on the OATUG website post-event under the knowledge base, as well as the Ascend app for viewing post-event?
The Ascend app, the presentations will be available for 3 months after the conference. For the OATUG website, and this is just the OATUG sessions, those will be loaded before the end of the year, but they won't be, those really won't be available till December. All right, covering, keeping it moving. In-person presenters, the number one thing you have to remember to bring is your laptop. And I always recommend laptops rather other than tablets or a lot of things these days. So I highly recommend you bring your laptop. That's why we really prefer all attendees to stay at the conference, because carrying your laptop around if you're staying in a different event is going to be a little bit tricky. That way you can race back up to your room. Make sure you have your latest PowerPoint loaded. Have it loaded in the cloud as well. I always do get a few attendees that want to use the session uploaded to the app, which is in PDF form, so it really doesn't present well. So we got to make sure that everyone has their PowerPoint loaded. All your graphics and fonts will load a lot better if it's run straight from the laptop you created it on. And also make sure you have a backup in the cloud in case something happens. Arrive to your session 15 minutes early. This is super important for getting you hooked up, getting you set up, testing the microphones, testing any layouts, especially if you're a panel or something like that. Virtual speakers is super easy. I will just glance over these because those are sent out. We sent actual Zoom links straight to these virtual presenters, and they just present in Zoom like everyone does. So those are usually pretty easy, and we just have a few of them.
So
okay,
before we start the next section, you have a few more questions coming in. Suggestions for keeping track of time while presenting. And if I can take this one, Mike, what usually we suggest is don't look at your watch. Even though that's perhaps what you must be thinking, but it's a distraction if you're presenting and constantly looking at a watch. So the best suggestion I've heard is if you have a friend or someone in the audience who is keeping track of the time and maybe signals to you that you have 10 minutes left or 5 minutes left. So that way you will know better, or you can have maybe a virtual clock or something. But what usually works is someone else helping you keep track of time instead of you presenting and also trying to keep track of time. Next question, is there a podium in the rooms?
We'll be covering that a little bit later.
Okay.
And then I see another one was asking what is CPE credit. CPE is continuing professional education credits. So certain fields require that, and like especially financial or accounting. And there's a whole section on the Ascend website that covers, under the Ascend website, under education is CPE, so you can read all about that there.
Do we have access to a power outlet?
Yes, there will be a power outlet on the podiums.
And can we re-upload our presentation if we have made any last-minute changes?
Yes, the number one thing I tell all presenters is, I mean, look at me, I've already noticed a few errors in this session as well. I will go back and fix those errors, and then you might run into those as well. Most people I think do. Absolutely re-upload the latest and greatest of your slides. Now, you cannot delete what you've already loaded, but periodically myself or Janice will go through those, and if we see multiple sessions loaded to your session, we will delete them. It really helps us if you do title those properly, whereas you use your session title in the PDF and a version like version 2 or version 3. That makes it real easy for us to delete the versions that are older. And I recommend every presenter to upload multiple presentations.
Is presenting at the TurboTalk, the exhibit hall, any different from presenting elsewhere?
Yes, the TurboTalk is completely different. Those are not CPE eligible, and those are only 30 minutes. So you'll only have 30 minutes. They're very intimate. So you got a podium, you've got a giant TV screen which your sessions will be running on, and speakers. I mean, Mohan, you've done a bunch of these. You've seen how crowded they can get as well, with people kind of standing and sitting and standing a little bit.
Yes, often these sessions are quite popular and standing room only. So grab your lunch or have your lunch before you attend the TurboTalk sessions. Space is limited. Next question, will the presenter be able to see the PowerPoint slides along with the notes while the audience sees only the main slide?
I believe so. Mohan, do you have insight for this? It gets a little bit tricky.
Yes, so when you are presenting, the presentation screen are typically as if you have two screens. So what you see is more in the speaker mode, but the audience sees the second screen, which is in presentation mode. So if it doesn't work, you have to toggle a bit on PowerPoint to make that work. But the AV folks will help you. They are there in the room, or you can call them, or they are around.
Yep. And remember, all speakers will have the option whether they want to use the wired podium mic or a wireless lavalier, whether you want to walk around. We also have a clicker to advance slides, but we'll cover more of that a little bit on. So the Ascend Conference app, most people have been on there, but again, just you can see these instructions. We've got them on the presenter information page, so look there for those.
How good is the conference Wi-Fi for a live demo?
That is an excellent reason to get there 15 minutes early and test it. It should be good. I've been told it's good, but you know, at these different venues, you don't really know until you're running your session. Plan for it to be good and plan for it to run. This venue is supposed to be excellent, so I've heard nothing but excellent things. I get that information from my EV company who's done events there. They kind of let me know. But again, until you're in a packed room filled with attendees, that's when you really find out how the Wi-Fi is going to run. I've been told it's going to be great, so I have to assume that it's going to be great. But again, when you're running, if you're doing a dry run or something, and you can't run a demo, plan for it. You know, come up with a plan B if something won't launch.
Next question is for $1,000. How do we know how many people will be attending my session?
You don't. You're running up against 35 concurrent rooms, and you don't really know how many people are going to be there. I can say that all these sessions that were selected for this conference were voted upon. So all the sessions that are in the conference are highly valued by the members at OATUG and OHUG. So there should be a solid number of attendees at your different sessions. It is really hit or miss. And that's another big reason why we record them as well.
And here's a good suggestion for keeping track of time using the cell phone timer. So there is a timer you can use on your cell phone, keep track of your time. But again, it's better if your friend has it instead of you looking at your phone while you're presenting. That's a distraction. And Mike, I believe the answer is the same, what you just mentioned. Can I get to know who are attending my session beforehand? So that's not visible, right?
Correct, not visible.
Okay. Should we upload PDFs of both presentation and presentation with notes?
Yes, and again, make sure you separate those out. If you've got your regular session, just put the title of your session, and then if you have with notes, there's instructions on the presenter information page and how to title it.
Related to that, I've uploaded my presentations already, but the notes I'm speaking for are not included. Is there a requirement to add those as well, or do we provide them if participants request them?
If you feel they're important for the attendees to know, then you can upload those. We do have quite a few that have uploaded their PowerPoints and their PowerPoints with notes.
So this is not, I would say, a college or in a school. You can have any help you need. While presenting, we have a question saying, can we bring paper printed notes? I think you can bring anything that you want and make your presentation better.
Yep.
So will the laptops be connected to wireless or can we use wire?
They're going to be wireless. So you're going to want to connect your laptop to the Wi-Fi, the conference Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And there's a great suggestion from an experienced presenter. I suggest no live demo, instead pre-record your demo.
Yep, that is excellent. And you can just, have an MP3 of them created.
Yeah. Can we record the sessions using our cameras and post them on LinkedIn later?
Yeah, if you've got something that would record it, you're absolutely welcome to do that.
And follow-up questions on the dry run or practice. Is there an opportunity to do a full dry run other than the 15 minutes prior to the session?
Yes, there is a speaker room, but those rooms are only available during non-education times because there are actual sessions in those rooms. So if you look at the agenda, you can see when sessions are. They generally start around 10 and they end at noon, and then they start back up around 2-ish and they end at 4. Anytime around that, you can go into, I believe I've designated Gatlin E1 as a speaker ready room. So there'll be an AV tech always in there, and they can help you get set up and run it for an hour. I don't recommend doing that, but I mean, once you start running it for a few minutes, you can kind of see.
And does one book the dry room or the speaker ready room, or is available for access by anyone?
Access for by anyone at any time. We generally don't get a ton of people showing up for that, so it's generally dead in there.
And there's another great suggestion from an experienced presenter. There is a timer built into the speaker view of PowerPoint, upper left corner of the page. So you can use that also to track your time.
Perfect. All right, let's try to get through some of these because I know some of these slides will answer some questions quickly. And this goes for everyone on this call. We've got like 100 of you, so I'm hoping everyone does this, but it's very important that you've uploaded your session to your calendar. I'm showing you how to do it right here. Also, I'm showing you your session survey. We make these surveys very simple because we really want feedback, and as much feedback as we can get. So it's basically, how do you rate the session? It's from exceptional to poor, and then comments. Like if a speaker did something great, please put them into the comments, and please fill out as many of these as possible. I always feel that speakers can rate sessions a little bit better than attendees because you're going through it. So make sure to fill out as many session surveys as you can. Because we really love this input, and it really helps us kind of see what speakers we want to bring back for next year. So the more of these that you fill out, the better for us. All right, the session structure section of the presentation, just regular session information. I think I covered a few of these, especially the sessions are being recorded, no streaming. You can look at your session on the app to see if it's going to be in person only or on demand. It's pretty easy for my speakers. If you're in the Gatlin rooms, A or E rooms, those are all going to be recorded. If you're in the Swanee rooms, those are all going to be recorded. The only ones that aren't for OETUG are going to be the St. John rooms, any Turbo Talks, solution showcases. Those are not going to be recorded. So, but you can see your session tagged, whether it's going to be in person only or on demand, so you get to see exactly what's going on with it. Again, 15 minutes early. Look for, make sure when you're in there, you're making friends with the AV tech. They should give you a thumbs up when it's ready to go. They're always dressed in black and they'll be sitting back. There's generally kind of a tuner deck in the back of the room. So look for them and make friends with them. I've covered which rooms are being recorded. We've talked a little bit about this, make sure you're presenting for at least 50 minutes for the CPE requirement. End your session on time. I know there's a few of you that can get that can get bogged down with questions. So if you're getting a lot of questions from attendees and you're over your time, just bring it out into the hallway. It's pretty simple to say, listen, there's someone else coming in here. Some sessions end during lunch or at the end of the day, then you don't quite have to be out of there quite so soon. So if you're looking at your session, just see if there's a session running right after it.
And one suggestion, because the sessions are being recorded, you will have questions from the audience, but sometimes those questions are not audible in the recording. So please repeat the question and then answer the question. So that way, both the question and the answers are part of the recording.
Correct. That's an important point. I think it's coming up on a future slide, but yeah, I do remember I was in a session with an Oracle speaker and he did such a fantastic job with every question that was asked at repeating that question and then answering it. Another reminder on this page is really no sales pitches. So if you're a partner, we generally sessions will rate a lot better if they don't feel like they're being pitched a specific. Just basically say what you've done to help a client out, and don't do the hard sales pitches yourselves.
So the question related to that, can there be a slide on a deck showing the booth number in case attendees want to connect with the speaker from one of the exhibitors?
Yep, absolutely. Most of our partners do that. All right, let's continue. Room sets. Most rooms will be set in theater. There are a few exceptions to that. Some of them will be set in rounds and with theater. The hands-on labs and workshops are all going to be set in classroom. All rooms will have a podium mic and a wireless mic, unless you're in a panel. Like most panels, if you have extra people added as co-presenters, I put you in a panel room. So those will have a podium mic, a wireless mic, and 2 table mics. A slide clicker, and then of course projector and screen, and we'll have various HDMI and various cables to help you connect your laptop.
So are the mics fixed, handheld, or lapel?
The wireless is just a wireless mic pack, so you just clip it onto your shirt and then you carry around you clip the pack to your belt or something like that.
So is it possible to request a table mic or someone differently?
It is not. Yeah, these are the room sets this is also on the presenter information page. It is not, the rooms are set this way for a specific reason. If there's a reason you need table mics, like extra speakers that maybe aren't listed on the app, please let me know.
And for the round table, is there a stage similar to the theater?
Yes, I believe there's going to be a small stage in there, but again, once I get there, it'll be a little bit more. We'll be able to see that a little bit more.
And this is a very interesting question, especially those who are presenting for the first time. What are the room temperatures? What is the suggested attire?
The room temperatures, I always try to get those to run a little bit cold. So if you do have a sweater or a sweatshirt or something like that, or a jacket, I recommend you bring it. We run the rooms cold. It is pretty amazing how much heat is generated by people. So if you're in a room that's packed, it could start cold and instantly get hot. So we do try to keep an eye on that, and we do try to pump up as much coolness as possible. But again, reminder, we try to run everything cold, but just make sure you're able to layer.
And this is related to mics. Again, if there are two presenters, will there be separate mics for each presenter?
Yep, if there's two presenters, one of you is going to have to use the wireless, one of you is going to have to use the podium mic.
Thank you.
Yep. Starting your session, you'll quickly read a short script, and the script will be, I think we change these for daily scripts, but we'll basically have a short script for you to read. It'll talk about events at the conference not to miss, so that'll kind of let attendees know what it's going, and it also kind of let attendees know your session is starting. Yeah, you'll quickly give yourself an introduction. You don't need to go really fast. Just go slowly, pause for people to understand kind of how we're doing it here. I know I'm not the greatest presenter, that I do know, but kind of bouncing it by myself and Mohan, I think makes it a little bit easier for me and for him. And keep your slides as clean as possible. Don't try to jam too much stuff on them. These are just general tips that anyone can kind of Google or search, put in AI search that kind of lets everyone know. And again, at the bottom of this, the greatest thing you can do is repeat all questions, especially for the recording, and ending on time also helps us.
So we have a tip from one of our Florida-based attendees. Air conditioning works great in Florida. That's awesome to know. Will you be sharing this presentation before Sunday?
Yes, this session, this presentation, the recording, again, like I mentioned, will be on the presenter information page. Hopefully that'll be up by today. Ending your session, this is what we really want you to do as well. Please make sure you tell attendees to fill out the session survey, especially if you feel like you've done a great job. I would highly recommend them just maybe show it on your phone how easy it is to fill out a survey. Again, the last thing you should do when you're closing out your session is to thank attendees and sponsors. And if you've been to I recommend all speakers go through the exhibit hall, talk to the exhibitors, and if you have met a few that you really like, just encourage attendees to visit them. Without our sponsors, we do have some fantastic sponsors and exhibitors. I know for a fact, talking to attendees, user attendees, that they can't do their work without our partners. So just make sure you're encouraging them to go to the exhibit hall and talk to them.
So there are a few questions on the script. Will you be sharing before Sunday?
No, the scripts will be written and printed and placed on the podiums the morning of your session. The reason being, there might be something we need to add or take away, especially if we have cancellations, something like that. So we get it. That script is is placed in there. I do remember from a year's past, we did have a speaker reading the script saying, because we have it in there, say, hey, state your name, and kind of the Animal House thing, state your name. he read it verbatim without actually putting his name in there. But yes, that morning is when the script's going to come out.
Is there a dress code for presenters?
Nope, everything at the Ascend conference is business casual.
Yeah, how do we promote a session via the mobile app?
I'm not sure if you want to take this one, Mohan, but a great thing that I do is the social feed. So there's a great social feed on the mobile app, especially if you do something kind of fun or interesting. You know, Mohan does a great job of stuff like this. You know, posting, tying it into an orange or something Florida. Once you get there, the property is beautiful, and you could easily, somehow tie in the golf course or the location or the weather into your app, into your title. And yeah, be specific into your sessions. If you've got 3 really strong bullet points that attendees will get away from your session, make sure you post those as well.
Yeah, I second your suggestions. You use the social feed, post pictures, let folks know that you're presenting in an hour and things like that. And there are so many choices, as Mike said, a large number of sessions happening concurrently. So make something interesting, put in some teaser, why it'll be fun attending your session or what folks will learn from your session.
In the past, I've been able to tell what sessions will do better than other sessions based on tracks and kind of smart tracks. I think with AI and everything that's being thrown and some of the titles, these sessions are fantastic. I really don't have a strong feeling for how many attendees are going to be at these sessions.
Should we restate our learning objectives in our conclusion? Some presentation tip. I would say you can state it at the beginning, and if you want to reinforce, you can mention at the end. But practically what happens is, like at this session, you don't know how many questions will be there. Mike and I was discussing, we thought there won't be any questions. Everything is very clear, but today we found so many questions and several interesting ones. We have one more. Do you have any suggestions for round table sessions? Any presentation suggestions? I would say if you are having a round table, make sure everyone who is in the round table gets an opportunity to speak. So we sometimes have a round table where we have the primary speaker speaking for most of the time. So provide roundtable an opportunity to speak. And also roundtable sessions are mostly meet the expert type of sessions, right? So encourage a lot of questions from the audience, because apart from the presentations which the roundtable participants may already have, many of the insights which the audience gets is through the Q&A. Thank you.
Remember to have fun. I think, especially with the Decades Party and the opening reception, it's always great to show up, talk to as many people as possible, let them know you're giving your session. Once you build that personal connection, especially at that opening party, that can really help drive attendance to your session. So yeah, network yourself at these at the party or during lunch or coffee breaks or anything else. Here are the FAQs. Since most people at this point have added sessions to their calendars, we cannot change or move sessions. A lot of people feel like it's super easy to do, but there's a lot of downstream changes that happen when we move a session. Again, I already mentioned this, you cannot delete old PowerPoints or PDFs of the PowerPoints. We will have to do it. We will periodically go through them and delete them. So don't shoot us an email saying, hey, I uploaded a new session, delete the old one, because it will get done. Only speakers and co-presenters can upload sessions. So if you've got an attendee from your company and you want them to upload your PowerPoint for you, they cannot do it. Again, the speaker ready room is Gatlin E1 before or after session times, because it is an active room, but keep that in mind if you actually want to go to a particular room. The problem with the speaker ready room, though, always is if you're not presenting in Gatlin E1, it may be a little bit different in the other room. That's why 15 minutes early is always good. Lastly, have fun, especially after your session's over with. Take lots of photos, post it to social media. We really love speakers and attendees to post on LinkedIn how much fun our conference is. We will be back in Orlando next year at a different property. So yeah, if you're having a great event and you want to come back next year, submit again, and just say how excited you will be for our event next year. These are all user sessions selected by users, so it's going to be a great conference. And then we're planning on all recorded sessions to be available on the app the very next day within 24 hours. That's quite a feat, since we're running between 80 and 90 sessions a day. And then we're going to have links. And of course, the PowerPoints are already there and attendees can already have access to that, but the recordings will also be there as well.
And if you're not there, you have the fear of missing out, or FOMO. So I don't want to have FOMO. I want to be there on site at Orlando.
Perfect.
And like this session, if you complete more than 50 minutes, it will be eligible for CP credit. And I hope you have the 100+ audience member like we had today.
Perfect. It looks like, I think we covered everything. Did you get everything in the question area?
The last question was, what is FOMO? And I didn't want to have FOMO, so I answered it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun conference. I always look forward to it. I know our attendees always love it. We've got a great mix of education and fun. Our parties are great, so that's always a lot of fun. Again, if you're a user on this call, always talk to the partners of the exhibit hall. I know a lot of them are going to be doing receptions and events on Monday night, so if you talk to them, you might get an invite there. I think that's it. If anyone has any other questions, you feel free to email me. My email is stated there. Everyone should have got an email from me. I believe I sent that out yesterday, so you can always reply to that. If you're on the OETUG side, if you're on the OHUG side, you can reply to Janice at OHUG. But I think we've covered everything, and this will conclude the webinar. And if you're part of the OETUG and you see me walking around, always say hi. I always like meeting speakers, so feel free to introduce yourself, and can't wait to see everyone at Ascend. This will conclude the webinar. Do you have any closing comments there, Mohan?
I would say have fun, update your profile on the conference app so folks know who you are, and if possible, upload your recent pictures so that they can recognize you once they meet you in person. And for all of you who are presenting, the very best of luck. Hope you have all your presentations standing room only, and have a great conference. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day.